The Russian language. Russian is primarily spoken in Russia and to a lesser extent the other countries that were once constituent republics of the USSR. Until 1917, it was the sole official language of the Russian Empire, although during the 19th century of the language spoken in literary circles by the aristocracy in St. Petersburg was largely French. During the Soviet period, the policy toward the languages of the various other ethnic groups fluctuated in practice, though each of the constituent republics had its own official language. The official language of government and communications was reserved for Russian, following the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991. Several of the newly independent states have encouraged their native languages, which has partly reversed the privileged status of Russian, though its role as language of post-Soviet interstate communication throughout the region has continued. In Latvia, notably, its official recognition and legality in the classroom have been a topic of considerable debate in a country where more than one-third of the population is Russian-speaking, consisting mostly of post-World War II immigrants from Russia and other parts of the former USSR like Belarus and Ukraine. Similarly, in Estonia, the Soviet-era immigrants and their Russian-speaking descendants constitute 25.6% of the country's current population, and 58.6% of the native Estonian population is also able to speak Russian. In all, 67.8% of Estonia's population can speak Russian. In Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, Russian remains a co-official language with Kazakh and Kyrgyz respectively. Large Russian-speaking communities still exist in northern Kazakhstan, and ethnic Russians comprise 25.6% of Kazakhstan's population. A much smaller Russian-speaking minority in Lithuania has largely been assimilated during the decade of independence and currently represent less than one-tenth of the country's overall population. Nevertheless, more than half of the population of the Baltic states are able to hold a conversation in Russian, and almost all have at least some familiarity with the most basic spoken and written phrases. The Russian control of Finland in 1809 to 1918, however, has left few Russian speakers in Finland. There are 33,400 Russian speakers in Finland, amounting to 0.6% of the population. 5,000 or 0.1% of them are late 19th century and 20th century immigrants, and the rest are recent immigrants who arrived in the wake of the Soviet collapse. In the 20th century, Russian was widely taught in the schools of the member states of the old Warsaw Pact and in other countries that were allied voluntarily or involuntarily with the USSR. These countries include Poland, Bulgaria, and Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Albania, and Cuba. However, younger generations are usually not fluent in it because Russian is no longer mandatory in the school system. It was, and to a lesser extent still is, taught in Mongolia due to Soviet influence. Russian is also spoken in Israel by at least 750,000 ethnic Jewish immigrants from the former Soviet Union, according to a 1999 census. The Israeli press and websites regularly publish material in Russian. Sizable Russian-speaking communities also exist in North America, especially in large urban centers of the US and Canada such as New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Toronto, Baltimore, Miami, Chicago, Denver, and the Cleveland suburb of Richmond Heights. In a number of locations, they publish their own newspapers and live in self-sufficient neighborhoods, especially the generation of immigrants who started arriving in the early 1960s. Only about a quarter of them are ethnic Russians, however. Before the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the overwhelming majority of Russophones in North America were Russian-speaking Jews. Afterwards, the influx from the countries of the former Soviet Union changed the statistics somewhat. According to the United States 2000 census, Russian is the primary language spoken in the homes of over 700,000 individuals living in the United States.